You were just on stage, we were discussing the Instapaper buy, but what I really want to discuss is building startups in New York. What sort of infrastructure have you seen in terms of improvements in infrastructure have you seen? What's the future for essentially building a company here in the city, which historically has been difficult because of the high prices, real estate's difficult to get, that sort of thing?
Yes, I think that, I mean, New York's an incredible place for entrepreneurs to come and build companies today. And I think it's different from San Francisco. It's a city. It's a vibrant, active city where tech is an important piece of the puzzle, but it's not the only piece of the puzzle. And so, the companies that are best optimized to be here and to grow here are ones that, want to be in that environment in a city, are software companies, but also have a relationship to media, maybe have a relationship to the arts, maybe a relationship to fashion, maybe a relationship to Wall Street fintech. So there's all these crossover industries that are massive scale here in the city. And I think that for the right kind of company, it's the right place. It's not perfect for every company. And so you got to pick and choose and see. But there's a vibrant startup scene that's been built here, and I think it's been built into the fabric of the city now.
We were discussing some of the issues with getting funding, getting tax subsidies, that sort of thing. And you're on the side where subsidies in general aren't good for some of the startups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part of a team of people who are working with the mayor's office for the last couple of years. I guess it's the tech advisory board. And my view is that government plays best when government really restricts and focuses its role in a few key areas, normally at the sort of infrastructure layer. And so infrastructure in terms of broadband, Wi-Fi, cellular, that kind of stuff, I think government can be hugely additive to that. I think infrastructure in terms of policy, whether it relates to tax and city policy, it can also be additive to that, but that can help startups and entrepreneurs. But actually re-architecting that is a big, arduous job. I think that the city can sort of set the table, but then it's the job of the entrepreneurs, the builders, the makers to come in and say, okay, this is the table I want to sit at, and I'm going to build my own company here. I think that introducing subsidies into direct startups is not something I'm a big fan of. I don't think I think that the startup system is, by its nature, is highly Darwinian, and it should be.
So convince all the Silicon Valley guys, why should they come to New York in your experience?
So not all of them should, right? I mean, I think that the first thing is this is not a one-size-fits-all, but I think innovation has been distributed out of Silicon Valley. I think so many of the big platforms that have been put in place now have made it possible for us to build amazing companies here in New York, right? So whether it's companies that we're building at BetaWorks, I mean, you mentioned Instapaper before, like Dig, or new things that we're launching. We have a whole set of new companies that we have been working on for the last 6 months that we're launching. And if you're interested in launches, if you go to bit.ly/beta-open, you can get onto our launch list. So a little bit of a promo for that. But
actually, do you want to take a look at that site? I think we got it up there.
Yeah, so that's where you can sign up for. If you go to bit.ly/beta, no.
That's not right.
Yeah, that URL works. I think that URL works.
Open beta, that's perfect.
Yeah. So that is where you can sign up to the list of our new stuff. But you're saying generally, there's a lot of new stuff being built here in New York. We're doing some of it. Most of it we're not doing. It's being built by other companies. And then, there are companies that are real scale now, right? So you had Kevin Ryan on stage before talking about Guild, there's Fab, so there's a lot in the commerce space. There's a lot in advertising. And then there's social platforms like Tumblr, like Kickstarter, like Foursquare, that are massive scale and that belong here in the city, right? I defy you to get David Karp to relocate. I mean, it's like, David, I think so much of the sensibility of, what he built with Tumblr, what Dennis built at Foursquare, what Perry and Yancey built at Kickstarter, comes from the community and New York.
Okay. It seems that there's a lot of hardware startups here as well.
Hardware stuff that's happening.
And why do you think that is? We were just discussing that.
Well, New York is, cities just have this incredible ability to engender innovation, right? It's just like that. Cities are these, amazing things that actually, as they get bigger, they get denser, and the information flows get better, and they become more efficient as they improve with scale, which most things don't in life. So one of the things that New York has, which is remarkable, I remember when I first moved here, is that you have sort of industries top to bottom. So the printing industry, not only did you have publishers who were here, advertisers here, you had printing presses who were here. Or like we're down in the Chelsea area, so you go down there and it's like the High Line, right, used to have trains coming there to deliver Nabisco flowers, and they would flour, or flowers.
Maybe flowers sometimes.
Yeah,
It's nice to have flowers.
And so that they could bake and make products. So in the same way, the maker community, I think, is embracing New York as an environment where you can come in and you can start up a hardware startup. And maybe manufacturing is going to happen in China. But if you talk to the MakerBot guys, I mean, they've built a phenomenal hardware company based here in New York, and so particularly in the boroughs, right? I mean, it's Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Queens, increasingly Long Island City, Harlem. I mean, the boroughs have become sort of rich areas where there's also big open industrial space, right? So there's a real estate component to it, but it's there's a history here of building and of manufacturing and creating, right? The first movie studios were here, right? They're still in Queens.
Yeah, they are.
And then Edison, I think the story is that he ran away because of patents. Is it Edison? I've forgotten who it was, but they ran out to Hollywood because of patent issues. And so, I mean, there's also other reasons why it's sunnier. But New York has an incredible history of building industries from the ground up, and that's what we're still trying to do.
All right. So now, if all these startup guys want to get purchased by you, should they just grab you right now as you're walking through the hall there? Should I just tell them that?
So acquisitions is a piece of what we do, and so most of what we do is we build stuff.
All right.
We're passionately involved in building stuff, but if if there's something you think we should buy, then email Lightmarco at 2:00 in the morning, and that's usually a sweet spot for us. And we'll get back to you if it fits. I mean, it's the Instapaper deal was a wonderful thing that came in, and when the Dig team and Andrew and I sat down, looked at it, it just fits so well with where we're going with Dig and with Reader, that I view it sort of, as I described before, Vilexio, as part of an ecosystem. It's part of sort of a cluster of things we're building.
All right.
So there you go. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you very much.